The vibrant colors of Saigon began to fade in my rearview mirror as I boarded the bus to Phnom Penh, my next destination in this whirlwind adventure through Southeast Asia. The anticipation electrified my senses. I could barely contain my excitement. As the wheels rolled over the bumpy roads, I gazed out of the window, watching the landscape shift from the crowded streets of Vietnam to the more laid-back charm of Cambodia. Phnom Penh was not just a place on my map. It was a chapter in my journey that promised depth and discovery. The capital, steeped in history and culture, whispered tales of resilience and revival. I had done my research, but nothing could prepare me for the kaleidoscope of experiences that awaited me. Arriving in the city, the air was thick with humidity and the scent of street food wafted through the streets. I could hear the distant sounds of laughter and chatter, underscored by the rhythmic clatter of tuk-tuks zipping by. My first stop was the Royal Palace, a glittering testament to Cambodia's regal past. I marveled at the ornate architecture, the golden spires reaching towards the sky. As I wandered through the garden, the serenity contrasted sharply with the bustling streets outside. Here, I was reminded of the peaceful moments that lay beneath the surface of this vibrant city. Visiting the Tul Sling Genocide Museum was a sobering experience. Walking through the former school-turned-prison was chilling. I felt a heavy weight in my chest as I absorbed the stories of those who suffered unimaginable horrors during the Khmer Rouge regime. The photographs of survivors, filled with a mix of despair and resilience, haunted me. I walked out feeling an urgent need to appreciate the freedom and privileges I often took for granted. While Phnom Penh offered a window into Cambodia's tumultuous past, I felt the pull of Siem Reap calling me like a siren's song. I couldn't shake the thought of the famed Angkor Wat temple complex, where history and spirituality intertwined like the roots of the ancient trees that grew around its stones. Battling doubts about whether I could navigate the logistics of getting there, I found courage in the possibility of new discoveries. The journey would be a series of mini adventures. I visualized what the landscapes might look like, the people I might meet, and the serenity I might discover. The bus ride to Siem Reap was filled with awe. The roads seemed to guide me deeper into the heart of a land that was at once ancient and alive. Arriving in Siem Reap, I was struck by the juxtaposition of modernity and tradition. The bustling markets filled with artisans and street food stalls, the warm, welcoming smiles of locals. I had mapped out the temples I wanted to explore. Angkor Wat, of course, at sunrise. Ta Prohm, tangled in the embrace of nature, where trees had claimed their power over the ruins, and Bayon Temple, with its enigmatic smiling faces etched into stone. Yet, I also craved the unstructured adventures, the moments that couldn't be planned. My first morning at Angkor Wat was surreal. The sun broke over the horizon, casting a golden hue that illuminated the intricate carvings of the temple like a painter revealing their masterpiece. I felt a swell of emotion, standing in the presence of such a monumental testament to human artistry and spirituality. As I walked through the temple's vast corridors, I could almost hear the whispers of those who had tread the same paths centuries before me. The silence was punctuated only by the sound of my footsteps, but it reverberated with the weight of history. After immersing myself in the grandeur of Angkor Wat, I sought the tangled wonder of Ta Prohm. The moment I stepped into its confines, I was entranced. The massive tree roots snaked their way through the ancient stones, illustrating nature's triumphant reclamation. I wandered aimlessly, allowing myself to get lost in the labyrinth of ruins, capturing moments with my camera, but also locking them away in the vaults of my memory. In the afternoons, I ventured into the bustling markets of Siem Reap. I haggled for handmade souvenirs, tasted exotic fruits I couldn't name, and basked in the chaotic symphony of scents, sounds, and colors. Most evenings, I found myself at local restaurants, where I would strike up conversations with fellow travelers. Each story shared over a plate of amok fish or pad khmer felt like a thread weaving our journeys together. Yet, this adventure was not without its internal conflicts. As I immersed deeper into the culture, I grappled with the paradox of being a traveler in a land heavy with the echoes of its past. Was I a respectful guest or an intruder? Those thoughts often accompanied me as I explored, transforming my reflection from mere tourist into mindful participant. One night, I joined a local festival, a celebration vibrant with music, dance, and laughter that illuminated the night. The merriment felt like a balm, washing over the remnants of sorrow I carried from my earlier visits. Surrounded by locals, I danced without care, embracing moments of joy and connection that transcended language and culture. As my time in Cambodia began to wind down, a sense of fulfillment washed over me. I had traversed through ancient temples, tasted the wonders of local cuisine, shared stories with new friends, and confronted a painful history. Each step was a revelation, each encounter an opportunity for growth. With my heart full and my spirit alive, I prepared to leave Cambodia, but I knew this adventure was only a chapter. The memories I gathered would float with me like wishes on the wind, guiding me to my next escapade in this boundless world. I took one last look at the enchanting landscapes, the smiling faces of the locals, the profound beauty of a country that had risen from its ashes. I knew I would carry Cambodia's spirit wherever I went, forever searching for more stories, more adventures, and further unexpected discoveries. I stepped off the plane in Phnom Penh. A wave of warmth washed over me, not just from the tropical climate, but from the vibrant energy that surrounded the bustling airport. The air was thick with a mix of spices and unfamiliar scents, each more tantalizing than the last. My heart raced with a jumble of emotions: fear, euphoria, doubt, and inspiration, each one vying for my attention as I made my way through the arrival hall. The first thing I noticed was the warmth of the people. The smile of the immigration officer, the nods and waves of fellow travelers, added to the feeling of belonging, albeit momentarily. Yet, the fear began to creep in. What was I doing here? I was thousands of miles away from home, alone in a city that was rich in culture but wrapped in its own complexities. What if I couldn't navigate this new world? What if I got lost or worse, misunderstood? But then there were moments of sheer joy. As I stepped out into the bustling streets, the sights and sounds enveloped me like a big, cozy blanket. The honking of motos and tuk-tuks created a symphony unique to Phnom Penh. I watched as vendors sold vibrant fruits and colorful clothing, eager to share their stories and goods. I was filled with a sense of exhilaration, the joy of adventure bubbling up inside me as I took in the lively scene around me. Walking along the streets, I felt a blend of admiration and melancholy. I passed by historic buildings, each telling a story of resilience and spirit. They were striking, yet they cast a shadow of the past that weighed upon me. The memories of Cambodia's history, its struggles and triumphs, swirled in my mind, filling me with a sense of responsibility to learn and understand. The doubt lingered, nagging at me. Would I truly grasp the depth of the culture around me? Could I respect the experiences of those who had come before me? Yet, as I ventured deeper into the heart of the city, inspiration surged within me. I was in a place where tradition met modernity, where life carried on with a vibrancy that was palpable. The street markets sparked my curiosity, enticing me to engage with the locals, try the food, and learn a few words of Khmer. Each interaction, however small, peeled away my trepidation, replacing it with a budding sense of adventure and discovery. The first night, I found myself wandering the streets, guided by the glow of lanterns and the aroma of street food. I stumbled upon a small restaurant buzzing with laughter and conversation. The owner welcomed me with open arms, gesturing toward an array of dishes. There was a thrill in trying the unknown, in tasting local delicacies that danced on my palate. My initial fear faded into the background, replaced by a bold eagerness to embrace each moment. Each day in Phnom Penh unfolded like a new chapter. I visited the royal palace, stood in awe of its intricate architecture, and learned about its significance to the Cambodian people. I felt an enormous sense of respect for the history, for the generations that had come before, and the resilience displayed amidst adversity. My heart swelled with admiration. I was a guest in a land rich with stories waiting to be told. As I strolled along the riverside, watching boats glide by and families enjoying their evenings, a sense of belonging creeped in. The people I met, whether in stalls or on the street, extended kindness and hospitality that warmed my heart. Those connections transformed my fears into reflections of shared humanity, creating bonds beyond language and borders. By the time I headed towards Siem Reap, I could feel the impact of my experiences settling into my spirit. My fears had transformed into a deep appreciation for the journey I had embarked on. Euphoria highlighted each landmark, each interaction, adding to a tapestry of memories that would last a lifetime. The doubts that initially consumed me were replaced by a profound understanding of the beauty of exploration and the importance of embracing the unknown. Phnom Penh became more than a starting point. It morphed into a classroom, a sanctuary, and a source of inspiration that would fuel my adventures in the days to come. The city carved a space in my heart, reminding me that every journey begins with a single step taken amidst a whirlwind of emotions, and that is where the magic lies. Phnom Penh greeted me with a warm, humid embrace as I stepped off the plane, the air thick with a mix of excitement and uncertainty. The sounds of the city swirled around me, a chorus of honking motorbikes, street vendors calling out their wares, and the distant laughter of children playing. I could feel the vibrant pulse of life here, different from anything I had ever experienced before. The first day unfolded like a colorful tapestry as I wandered through the bustling markets. My senses were inundated with a kaleidoscope of colors and scents. Brightly colored fruits stacked high, their fragrances mingling with the pungent aroma of street food sizzling on small grills. I was drawn to a stall selling grilled skewers of meat, the smoky scent beckoning me closer. The vendor smiled broadly, and I marveled at the way her hands worked expertly, flipping and seasoning with a practiced fluidity. I pointed to a skewer, and she handed it to me with a toothy grin. Taking a bite, the flavors burst in my mouth, a perfect blend of savory and spicy. It was unlike anything I had ever tasted, a bold introduction to the culinary delights of Cambodia. As I meandered through the streets, I became acutely aware of the cultural differences that surrounded me. The gentle sway of Khmer hospitality was palpable, each interaction filled with warmth and kindness. Yet, there were moments of solitude that crept in, amplified by the language barrier. Though I tried to communicate with simple gestures and a few learned phrases, I often found myself lost in translation. The inability to express my thoughts made me feel vulnerable, a sensation that was both unfamiliar and uncomfortable. In the evenings, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the city transformed. The vibrant lights flickered to life, illuminating the night markets and lively restaurants. I found myself drawn to the riverfront, where locals gathered to socialize and enjoy the cooling breeze. In those moments, I would sit quietly, observing families sharing meals, friends laughing, and children playing in the remaining sunlight. Sometimes, a stranger would sit next to me, and we would share fleeting smiles, even if words failed us. Adapting to the new culture was a journey that unfolded gradually. I learned to navigate the social customs, the importance of politeness, the art of removing shoes before entering a home, and the gentle nods of acknowledgement that punctuated conversations. Each interaction was a lesson, and with each encounter, my confidence grew. I discovered that through the simple act of sharing a meal or joining in a local festival, I could bridge the gap that language could not. In Siem Reap, the ancient temples beckoned, their histories whispering stories of a bygone era. Walking through the ancient halls of Angkor, what filled me with awe, the intricate carvings and towering spires standing as testaments to the ingenuity of the Khmer Empire. Yet, even here, I experienced the contrast of cultures, tourists posing for photographs, the bustling vendors selling trinkets, the sacred grounds mingling with the commercial. I found solace in quiet corners, where the echoes of history resonated more deeply, and I could reflect on my journey thus far. Throughout my travels, moments of loneliness persisted. I would sit in cafes, sipping strong Khmer coffee, lost in thought as I watched the world go by. There were days when the weight of isolation pressed heavily on my chest. Yet, each time I faced that feeling, it became an opportunity for growth. I began to approach strangers with an open heart, sharing smiles and laughter, even when the nuances of communication eluded us. Navigating through Phnom Penh and Siem Reap, I encountered challenges that tested my resilience. There were moments of frustration when I felt utterly out of place or unheard. Yet, in between those moments of self-doubt, glimmers of connection shone through, reminding me of the richness of human experience that transcends language and cultural barriers. As I continued to explore, I learned to savor the small victories. Ordering food became less daunting with each passing day, and I started to recognize familiar faces in the bustling markets. An elderly woman selling mangoes began to greet me with a nod, and I felt a flicker of belonging flame within me. With each place I ventured, the city unfolded itself like the pages of a richly woven story, each thread interconnecting the people, the food, the sounds, and the culture that surrounded me. I embraced the chaos, the beauty, and the tranquility, allowing it to blend into my narrative, a tale of growth, adaptation, and discovery. Ultimately, my journey through Phnom Penh and Siem Reap was not merely about visiting new places, but about weaving my own experiences into the vibrant tapestry of Cambodia. Each challenge I faced became a stepping stone, guiding me toward a deeper understanding of myself and the world around me. As I prepared to leave, I held within me the essence of the places I had visited, the laughter of children, the savory spices of street food, the history etched in ancient stone. Through it all, I realized that travel is as much about the journey within as it is about the adventure without, a lesson that would remain etched in my heart for years to come. Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, welcomed me with a vibrant mix of heritage and modernity, a city that pulses with life and history. My journey began in the heart of the city at the Royal Palace, an expansive complex that captivated me with its elegant Khmer architecture. The golden spires of the silver pagoda shone brilliantly against the bright blue sky, and as I wandered through the manicured gardens, I could feel the whispers of history echoing around me. The intricately designed murals depicting scenes from the Ramayana captured my imagination, serving as a beautiful reminder of Cambodia's rich artistic legacy. Just a short walk from the Royal Palace, I ventured to the National Museum of Cambodia. This cultural haven houses an astonishing collection of artifacts that span centuries. I marveled at the exquisite statues of the Buddha and the colorful pottery that spoke of daily life in ancient Cambodia. The museum itself, with its traditional Khmer architecture, felt like a work of art, with an open courtyard adorned by lush greenery and sculptures that seemed to tell stories of their own. As I absorbed the beauty of Phnom Penh, I felt a pull towards its darker history. The Tul Sling Genocide Museum, formerly S21 prison, offered a chilling insight into the horrors of the Khmer Rouge regime. Walking through the classrooms converted into interrogation rooms, I was struck by the weight of the past. The bare walls told stories of suffering, and the haunting photographs of those who were imprisoned held my gaze. It was a sobering experience, urging me to reflect on resilience and the importance of remembering history. Later that evening, I found myself at the riverside, where the confluence of the Tunnel Sap and Mekong rivers brought a sense of peace. The vibrant atmosphere came alive with locals and tourists alike enjoying the cool breeze. Street vendors offered delicious snacks, fried insects, fresh fruit, and rice cakes, which tempted my taste buds. I savored the sweet aroma of grilled chicken skewers and the savory goodness of fish amok, a traditional Cambodian dish that showcased the country's rich culinary heritage. Next, I set my sights on Siem Reap, a city that serves as the gateway to the magnificent Angkor Wat Temple complex. The journey there took me through picturesque countryside, where verdant rice paddies stretched as far as the eye could see, dotted with traditional wooden houses. Arriving in Siem Reap, I felt an energy that was distinctly different. A sense of excitement hung in the air. The town itself is charming, with lively markets and a plethora of restaurants offering both traditional Khmer dishes and international cuisine. At dawn, I joined a small group to witness the sunrise over Angkor Wat, one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. As the first rays of light illuminated the ancient stone temple, I felt a sense of awe wash over me. The silhouette of Angkor Wat against the rising sun created a magical scene, one that will forever be etched in my memory. I wandered through the sprawling complex, mesmerized by the intricate bas-reliefs that narrate tales of gods, battles, and myths. Each turn revealed a new facet of architectural brilliance, and I couldn't help but marvel at the ingenuity of the Khmer architects. Visiting the Bayon Temple in the Angkor Thom complex was another highlight of my journey. The numerous stone faces of Avalokiteshvara gazed down at me with serene expressions, embodying both mystery and wisdom. As I explored the twisting pathways of the temple, I found myself lost in the enchanting blend of nature and history. The roots of giant trees intertwined with stone structures, creating a breathtaking fusion of the man-made and the natural world. I also took a moment to explore the lesser-known temples, such as Ta Prohm. Unlike the more heavily tourist sites, Ta Prohm retains an air of mystery, with massive trees enveloping its crumbling walls. The majestic trunks of the silk cotton trees had become part of the ruins, giving the site a fairy tale ambience. I found a quiet spot to sit and appreciate how nature had reclaimed the temple, a powerful reminder of the passage of time. Evenings in Siem Reap were filled with lively night markets. I meandered through stalls bursting with handmade crafts, colorful textiles, and unique souvenirs, engaging with local artisans who gladly shared the stories behind their creations. I indulged in a traditional Khmer massage, reflecting on the day's adventures while being soothed by the skilled hands of my therapist. Before departing Siem Reap, I ventured to the Angkor National Museum, where I delved deeper into the history and culture of the Khmer Empire. Thoughtfully curated displays educated me about the rituals, mythology, and traditions that shaped this fascinating civilization. It was an excellent complement to my visits to the temples, allowing me to appreciate the grandeur of Angkor Wat and its surrounding sites even more. As I prepared to leave Cambodia, my heart was full of profound experiences. From the intricate artistry of Phnom Penh to the majestic temples of Siem Reap, every location I visited left an indelible mark. The warmth of the Cambodian people, the stunning landscapes, and the rich history created a tapestry of memories that I will cherish forever. My time in Cambodia was not just about visiting places. It was a journey of discovery, understanding, and appreciation for a culture that has thrived for centuries amidst challenges and triumphs. The sun was barely rising when I stepped outside, feeling the brisk morning air kiss my face. I had just moved to a new city. Everything felt both vast and claustrophobic at the same time. I pressed on, determined to navigate my way through unfamiliar streets and public transit lines. The city was a sprawling mass of concrete and ambition, a labyrinth waiting to be explored. My first challenge was the subway system. I'd read online about its complexity, but nothing could have prepared me for the rush of bodies, the pounding of footsteps, and the sudden stops. As I stood squished between fellow commuters, I felt a sense of anonymity wrapping around me, a comfort amid chaos. But as each station whizzed by, I felt the weight of solitude more heavily. I missed the familiar faces of my old friends, whose laughter used to fill my days with ease. Yet, within the uncertainty, I found unexpected moments. One afternoon, I was lost, staring blankly at a map, when I was approached by a kind stranger, an elderly man with bright blue eyes. He smiled knowingly and offered to guide me to my destination. His stories about the city captivated me as we walked, and in that brief encounter, I felt a spark of hope and connection. It reminded me that even in a city bustling with strangers, kindness often shone through. Life in the city was filled with ups and downs. One evening, I missed my train and found myself stranded at the platform as the last trains of the night departed. Panic surged through me. The darkness around me felt thicker, and I questioned my decision to move here. Just as despair threatened to take hold, I decided to take a deep breath and sit on a bench. There, I struck up a conversation with a woman waiting for a friend. Her laughter was contagious, and soon, we were exchanging stories of our lives. The unexpected encounter turned my anxious night into a warmth-filled moment that lifted my spirits. Of course, with the exhilaration of new friendships came moments of danger. I recall one late night when I was walking home, headphones in, lost in my own world. As I passed an empty alley, I felt the prickling sensation of being watched. Though my instincts told me to keep moving, curiosity had me glancing over my shoulder. I saw shadows flit in the dim light. My heart raced as I quickened my pace, adrenaline coursing through my veins. I felt small and vulnerable, fearing the unknown lurking inside that alley. Realization struck me. Often, danger walks hand in hand with adventure. Moments like these pushed me to the brink, where I almost thought about retreating back to the safety of familiarity. However, amid the turmoil, I found something inside me that screamed for resilience. I could not let fear tether me to the past. So, each day, I roamed the streets, learning the rhythm of the city, embracing its unpredictability. I would often find hidden gems, a quaint cafe with artwork lining the walls, or a local bookshop that felt like a sanctuary. Through these experiences, I developed a newfound appreciation for the world around me. I poured my heart into writing about my encounters, laying bare my fears and triumphs. I documented every laugh shared with a stranger, every pulse-quickening moment of anxiety, and every kind gesture that reignited my resolve. Friends became a foundation I didn't know I needed. One night, as we gathered in a small apartment, blasting music and cooking together, laughter bubbled up as we tried to make a dish neither of us could remember the steps for. The kitchen turned into a battleground of shattered eggs and laughter, the chaos inviting and warm. Those moments reminded me that life is not just about overcoming challenges, but about savoring the small victories amidst the fight. One unexpected friendship formed from these connections was with a fellow artist, a spirited soul who painted murals around the city. She invited me to join her one sunny Saturday as she worked on a project in a nearby park. As sunlight streamed through the trees, illuminating her vibrant strokes on the canvas, I felt alive. I had been transfixed by the colors, the energy, and the laughter of those passing by. Here, immersed in art and heart, I realized that this city was more than just a collection of buildings and streets. It was a canvas of life, filled with stories yet to be told. As time passed, the city transformed from a stranger into a friend, one with layers of beauty and challenges. The internal struggle of fitting in and the external struggle of navigating danger became a part of my narrative. I was learning, adapting, and growing, like the city itself. Some nights, I would stand on my rooftop, staring at the twinkling lights below. It was a comforting reminder that I wasn't alone. I had woven my life into this tapestry of stories, uncertainties, and connections. In those moments of quiet reflection, I understood that while I had come seeking a fresh start, I had found a deeper understanding of myself. Every scar I collected, every laugh I shared, and every fear I conquered shaped my experience into something beautiful and impactful. It was a journey punctuated by both external obstacles and internal battles. And as I looked forward to the next chapter, I was filled with anticipation, knowing that new adventures awaited just beyond the horizon. Phnom Penh was a city that pulsed with life, a mix of history, culture, and a certain vibrant chaos. As I wandered past the royal palace, the gold-plated roofs shining in the afternoon sun, I couldn't help but feel the weight of the past. The streets were filled with motorcycles buzzing like bees, street vendors calling out their wares, and the faint aroma of lemongrass and chili wafting from nearby food stalls. I was on a quest to uncover the stories buried deep within this city, to witness a new side of myself in the process. I had come to Cambodia seeking adventure, but what I found was far beyond my expectations. The first night, I found myself wandering through the night market, where local artisans displayed their crafts. I was drawn to a small stall where a woman was weaving intricate baskets from bamboo. I struck up a conversation with her, and her stories about her family and traditions captivated me. She spoke with pride about her skills, passed down through generations, and I felt a deep connection. The next day, I decided to visit the infamous killing fields. The weight of history hung heavy in the air as I walked through the memorial site. I listened to the audio guide narrating the horrors that took place there. Each step felt like a reminder of the fragility of life. I couldn't comprehend the scale of the tragedy, but I knew it changed something within me. The resilience of the Cambodian people became apparent as I continued to explore Phnom Penh. I met survivors who showed immense strength despite their past, working to rebuild their lives and communities. After a few days, I set off for Siem Reap. The drive was filled with lush countryside, rice paddies stretching for miles under the golden sun. Arriving in Siem Reap felt like stepping into another world, the home of Angkor Wat, a magnificent reminder of Cambodia's glorious history. As dawn broke, I stood before the temple, its silhouette rising majestically against the vibrant sky. There was a stillness that enveloped the place, broken only by the sounds of wildlife awakening. My heart raced in anticipation as I explored the intricacies of the temple, each carving telling a story that spanned centuries. Each day brought new adventures, biking through jungle paths, exploring hidden temples, and connecting with fellow travelers. One day, while wandering through a small village, I stumbled upon an elderly man painting traditional scenes on canvas. Intrigued, I watched him work, and he invited me to sit beside him. He shared stories of his youth, the cultural significance of his art, and the changing lives around him. As we painted together, I discovered not just his world, but my own capacity for creativity. But it was on my last night in Siem Reap that everything changed. I attended a traditional Apsara dance performance, enveloped in a tapestry of music and movement. The dancers, with their delicate grace and vibrant costumes, painted a story of love and loss, joy and sorrow. As the performance unfolded, I felt an unexpected sense of nostalgia wash over me, igniting emotions I didn't know were buried deep within. After the show, I was drawn to an old woman sitting alone, her fingers dancing over a handmade shawl. I approached her, and she introduced herself as Grandma Srey. She spoke of her life, of dreams sacrificed and hopes cherished, her voice a soothing balm against the noise of the world outside. Life is a journey, my friend, she said, her eyes twinkling with wisdom. Every moment, every person you meet, changes your path. That night, under the starlit sky, I made a promise to myself to embrace my own journey with open arms, to seek beauty in the chaos, and to discover more of what life had in store. As I prepared to leave Cambodia, I felt a tug in my heart, an unquenchable desire for adventure that called out to me. I sat on the steps of the temple, gazing at the ancient stones weathered by time, contemplating my next destination. Little did I know that life had a surprise in store. Back in my hometown, I discovered an old suitcase filled with belongings from my childhood, photos, trinkets, and mementos I had long forgotten. Among them was a faded postcard of the pyramids of Giza. The vibrant colors of the desert scene beckoned me, igniting a spark of curiosity. And just like that, a new journey began to unfold. The adventure that started in the bustling streets of Phnom Penh and the ruins of Siem Reap was just the beginning. The world was vast, filled with untold stories and experiences waiting to be uncovered, and I was determined to explore every corner of it. Next stop, Egypt.